Hello and welcome to Patagala College of Commerce and Management's lecture series. I am Professor Megha Nair and today we will be talking about Arthashastra and good corporate governance. Before let's talk about the author of Arthashastra, Chanakya, also named as Kautilya, also named as Vishnugupta. But let's start. Kautilya actually belonged to the Magadha state. Magadha state is today South Bihar. Now, in the olden times, we are talking about around 5th century BC, Magadha was the biggest state in India. And Kautilya or Chanakya studied in the world's oldest university, which was Takshashila. In fact, he was so brilliant that he became a teacher at the Takshashila University. Initially, he went to the Nanda dynasty, which were the current rulers of Magadha, to actually benefit from his teaching. But after being insulted, he actually took an oath that he will throw out the Nanda dynasty and bring in a new rule, a new empire. That is how he recruited Chandragupta Maurya and founded the Maurya Empire. He served as the Maha Amatya. Now, Amatya means minister, simply means prime minister for the Mauryan Empire. He possessed rich experience in political administration and also defense matters. He is also known as the Kingmaker. Eventually, anyways, he was an intelligent scholar, fearless thinker, capable administrator, and an astute politician. Chanakya Niti is also one of his books, or you can say treatise. Now let's talk about Arthashastra, shall we? Arthashastra is the handbook written by Kautilya or Chanakya on running an empire. He was obviously the prime minister for Chandragupta Maurya, who was the first ruler of the Mauryan Empire. Now, Arthashastra is a Sanskrit word which actually means the concept, or you can say the learning of money, or the science of material gain. Artha means money, as simple as that, right? So therefore, his entire book Arthashastra is completely a work of political science, or you can say economy. Now let's talk about what he meant by Arthashastra, or you can say what were the principles or what were his ideologies behind forming the Arthashastra concept. Now, if we go to see our ancient texts, description of good governance has been found in ancient scriptures such as Mahabharata, Ramayana, in fact for that matter even Jataka tales and Panchatantra. Arthashastra actually highlights the principle of good governance in the quote, "In the happiness of his people lies the king's happiness. In their welfare is his welfare. Whatever pleases himself he should not consider as good, but whatever pleases his people he shall consider as good." In short, a king is a people's person. So, based on that, he gave us a few points. G stands for genuine. That means the king's rule, his feelings for his people should be genuine. O stands for optimistic. Even when faced with dire consequences and situations, one must always have optimistic, positive thinking. V stands for versatile, variety. E stands for ethical, always choose the right path. R stands for responsive. It simply means taking decisions quickly but not hurriedly. N, non-partisan. A, accountable. You should be responsible and accountable for your actions. N, nurturing. You are the king, you take care of the people. You have to be kind and you have to look after their welfare. So like a mother, a king also has to be nurturing towards his citizens, towards his praja. Competent. The king who is the ruler should be a competent fellow and not somebody who is really incompetent or egoistic in their work. E. Enterprising. Always strive for growth. So if you see the olden ancient texts of corporate governance has still relevance in today's scenario. Even though we have moved towards technologies, globalization, and so many other things, governance, the concept of governance in ancient India and in the current present scenario still remains the same. If we talk about what else he spoke, let's count here. Governance refers to the process of framing rules, decision making, and implementation of decisions such that a society, a country, or an organization is sustained and taken forward towards progress. Pretty self-explanatory, isn't it? So it's like a king. If you're a king, you have to make rules and regulations such that you actually lead to the country's progress rather than hinder its growth. So, since in those days king was the ruler and king was the prime most important person, Kautilya actually described the fourfold duty of a king. The first one is Raksha, protection. A king should offer protection to his praja. Vriddhi, which is enhancement. A king should always strive to achieve excellence and growth for his countrymen and for his followers. Palana, maintenance. Maintenance of his coffers, maintenance of the country, maintenance of lifestyles, maintenance of the people. Everything comes under the king's purview. Yogakshema, safeguard, giving proper rights, laws and interests. Safeguarding interests of the people is what a ruler has to undertake. So therefore, his fourfold duty for a king was protection, enhancement, maintenance and safeguarding the rights of its citizens. Substitution of a state with the company. The CEO, the king is like the CEO of a company. Okay, so if we have to, let's make a substitution. India is a country, there is a king who is the ruler. Similar to that, we have a country, we have a company. The way the king rules the country, a CEO rules the company. So, the four principles of corporate governance that Chanakya maintains, or you can say mentions for the king, if we substitute it in today's scenario and today's situation, it turns out to be like this. The first one, protection, means protecting your shareholders' wealth because they are your investors, they trust you, they put money, you're supposed to protect their wealth. Enhance wealth through proper utilization of assets. Fourth one, maintain that wealth. Do not lead yourself to take unnecessary futile decisions that may lead to losses or bankruptcy and loss of trust among the investors. So try and maintain that wealth. Last but not the least, safeguard interests of all shareholders and also your stakeholders, because each and every participant in a business organization is important and adds value to the governance. So therefore, Chanakya's fourfold duty of a king is similar to the principles of corporate governance that are being followed today. On this note, I hope you enjoyed the lecture and I will see you next time. Thank you so much.